Hello, viewers of Spellry, and welcome to third part of What If Asta was an Uchiha and had the Sharingan. Hopefully this series does take off. Hopefully. I'm having some real trouble with that. But, remember, subscribing and liking the video does definitely help the channel. Commenting doesn't hurt too. Making sure to push those interaction features so YouTube doesn't kill us. But without further ado, let's begin this what if. We begin with Yami and Magna coming back from their gambling, with only their grimoires and grimoire bags, since they lost everything else. They had even lost the clothes on their backs. Meanwhile, Asta would be using his Sharingan to try to tame the magic beasts, so they didn't try to bite him. It seemed that was working. He had Noelle, since this was partially her task, as she slid their food trays into the door while Asta kept them still with his Sharingan. As Asta sighed, just glad no one got bit and the animals actually got their food this time. As his eyes felt tired, Yami would say, "Hey!" As Noelle looked around, quickly covering her eyes and saying, "Why are you naked?" With Yami and Magna responding with, "We lost our little mission of gambling." Asta would just mutter, "I can see that," as he gave him a bit of an incredulous look. Yami would continue like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you, Noelle, and Magna will have a mission to clear out some boars." Asta would respond with, "Wow! Our first mission? And this should be a great start to becoming the Wizard King. This will be easy." Later on that day, "Why did I say this was going to be easy?" Asta said, as he was a boar with fire raining down its back was chasing him. He jumped to the side of the boar using his Sharingan to quickly put it in a minor illusion. The boar would start attacking the illusion Asta. It seems that my practice on Yami's magic beasts are paying off, but it would help if you two helped. As Noelle just said, "It looks like you have it just fine." And Magna would say, "Yeah, it took me a lot of energy to get you two here, since neither of you could actually fly on the broom. And besides, it looks like you're doing just fine." Asta quickly brought out his large dagger filled with wind chakra and slit the boar's throat. He then asked, "How many do we need to do?" Magna responded with, "I think that should be the last one. I was thinking it doesn't seem there's any more in the area." As Magna also recalled, even though this mission was pretty funny, especially when you tried blocking a giant boar with a sword, and you said you couldn't fly. Asta responded with, "Yeah, I thought that was gonna work. Anyway, what should we do with these now?" Magna responding, "Well, take them back to the village. They make a fine pork stew here. And maybe we can get some for our trouble." With Asta responding, "Wait, well, weren't we taking this whole mission because you and Yami lost a bet?" With Magna saying, "Yeah, but that's just a, either way, we should take these to the village." As Asta put several on his back. On the way to the village, Noelle would ask, "Do you know the mayor of Saucy Village?" Magda responded with, "Yeah, I used to get into all kinds of trouble when I was a kid." Noelle and Asta simultaneously think, "Used to? With Magna just continuing. Yeah, I went on a real power trip when I first got my grimoire. I rode into Saucy on my broom and with the idea of taking over the place. The mayor, Sehi, really taught me a lesson. Many times. He's the whole reason why I joined up in the first place. I respect him as much as Yam. When they saw the village, it would be surrounded by mist. When they got up to it, Asta would quickly say, "Get behind me, I think I can cut through it," as he brought out the Demon Dweller's sword and started hacking at the mist. When they got through it, they would find the villagers being held captive, with ice spikes about to drop on them. Asta would quickly use a technique he had picked up from the scroll his mother left for him. He would say, "Fireball Jutsu," and Magna would launch an explosion barrage, destroying the ice shards above the people. They would see the people who were doing this in white cloaks. Magna would say, "Who are you people? Why are you attacking the villagers? We're the Black Bulls." But Magna would stop when he noticed the mayor of Saucy Village had been killed, his 2 grandchildren crying next to his body. At the sight of this, Magna's Sharingan would go from a 2 to a 3 Tomoe. Magna didn't notice this at the moment since he had other issues to deal with. The leader of these attackers would speak up saying, "They threw off my schedule. I have to adjust. 5 minutes should be enough time to defeat the disgrace of the Magic Knights and kill the peasants and retrieve what we came for." The leader of the attackers would launch an attack. The leader launched an attack. Magna panicked for a minute, thinking it was going to hit him and the villagers. But then he noticed that there was a little spot on it he could see. He launched an explosion at it, and it sent it flying off course. He then took note that his Sharingan had already activated. He hadn't noticed, but he had no time to dwell on it. Asta yelled, "Who the heck do you think you are?" And he would use a technique he's been trying to master for a while now. As he put his 2 fingers together and said, "Body flicker," as he disappeared, reappearing behind the attackers and hitting one with the back with his sword and the other getting kicked. As Magna used an explosion barrage to counter the attack barrages of ice the leader kept sending at him. As Noelle started to think, what could she do in battle? Should she run? As she looked behind her, seeing the villagers cowering in fear and children crying, she realized several of them were looking to her to save them, with Magna being forced to go on the defensive. But with his new Sharingan, he was able to stop most of them. At that moment, Noelle's grimoire would start to float, as a bluish-white light came from it. A new spell was writing itself in her grimoire. She looked at it and saw it was a shielding spell. She decided to cast it immediately. She would be thinking, "Yes, I can be useful. No one's going to call me useless." As a water sphere would shoot up with swirling water in it. Magna, who now didn't have to shield the villagers, would just say thanks, as he ran out of the barrier to help Asta. As that was happening, Asta would be having a lot of trouble fighting the attackers and their leader. He had caught him by surprise, but just the sheer amount of numbers was starting to overwhelm him. His Sharingan wasn't as developed as Magna's, and he was starting to get overwhelmed. When Magna was running towards Asta, he yelled, "Asta, remember what you did at the initiation?" Asta nodded in understanding. Jumping back, the attackers would question this and they would see Magna. preparing a explosion shot. As almost a half a dozen fireballs would be sent at them, they would all sidestep thinking they had dodged it. But then Asta caught them in his Demon Dweller sword and sent them back. All of them were taken off guard and couldn't dodge or block, except the leader, who managed to block the shot aimed for him. The leader would say, "You're pretty dangerous," as he created a giant ice spike and forced it to collide with Asta, sending him back. He also was shooting ice at Magna, but he was able to dodge with his Sharingan. Asta, with the wind knocked out of him for a second, would start to move his hands in a specific pattern. As he said, wind style, wind pulse. As the pulse of wind would hit the leader of the attackers in the back, sending him stumbling forward as Magna managed to close the distance. His flaming bat would collide with the man's stomach, Asta coming in and hitting him in the head, knocking him out for the time being, ending the fight. Magna would bind them with his magic. As immediately as he did so, one of the attackers would wake up and turn the earth to mud and go into it, shooting away with surprising speed. Magna and Asta tried following him with their Sharingan, but they quickly lost him. Magna stomped the ground in frustration. "Come on!" Ugh, he grimaced. Magna would look at the other attackers, with the leader managing to wake up. Magna then had an idea. Just to make sure they didn't try to anything on transport, he was going to try to get some information from them now. As he leaned down to the man meeting his gaze, the man had a stoic expression. As Magna's eye transformed into the Sharingan, peering into him, he would put him in an illusion and peer into his mind, feeling like a cold water. He would see a number of people dressed in robes of different design than these people, but they're definitely related somehow. He would hear "Eye of the Midnight Sun," and pretty sure seeing a memory, would see 4 people. A girl with red hair, a man covered in fur like a beast, a man that he was pretty sure just yawned, with black and white hair, and another one that seemed to be shrouded in light, with blonde hair and distinct markings on his face. He wasn't able to recognize any of them, but he was sure that these were upper echelon members. They looked different, and he had the sense that they had authority. With him not being used to doing stuff like this, the illusion would break down. As Magna was propelled into the real world, the sensation of ice was replaced with the warm sun. The man who had had a stoical look on his face just moments ago would have a look of horror, saying, "You're one of those bloodlines." But before anyone could ask him more, a light would emanate from all of the attackers' stomachs as they all turned to ice and shatter into pieces. Noelle would have a horrified look on her face, first time seeing someone truly die in front of her. The other 2 would handle it better, but also be shocked at what kind of dedication these murderers had to allow someone to place a magic item inside of them, since Magna knew that there was no way they could use their magic to do that. They would help the villagers bury the handful of villagers that had died before they had arrived, including the mayor. His grandchildren being there, Asta giving some comforting words. Asta would ask, "What do you see?" Magna responding with, I want to mention this to Yami before I tell you, but it seems to be bigger than just a raid on a village." As Asta also asked, "Do you think they're going to be okay?" Looking at the grandkids of the mayor, Magna would nod yes. "Don't worry, the village is going to take care of Seihi's grandkids. As the little boy walked up and thanked Asta and Magna and the rest for saving their village. As Nero would come flying out with a stone in her mouth, pecking Asta in the head, as he quickly yelled, "Ow!" As the little boy said, "Hey, I think that's the stone Grandpa used to carry around." As Asta said, "Give that stone back, you little thief!" The kid said, "Grandpa always said it was his lucky charm during his adventures. I think he would want you to have it." Asta just responded, "Really?" As he quickly used his Sharingan to get the stone away from the bird, noting it glowed a little, as he thought it reminded him of Yuno's pendant, before pocketing it. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I recorded the last bit because 17 minutes were still left to be edited, and pretty much a lot of it was dead space. Don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to like the channel. Please check out my Odyssey channel. I'm going to be putting my what ifs there as a backup, along with some of my older videos. And don't forget to check out the Anime What If subreddit, a subreddit I created specifically so that the community could try to share and ideas and promote their channels. Unfortunately, no one's really caught on to that. Currently, there's 3 people. I'm one of them. And I hope you have a good day, and this will be Spellry, signing out.